And today we've had Anabelle Munro, producer, director, actress. Well, hello, everybody. This is your chaplain, Susan Stafford. And today I have someone special for you. And her name is Anabelle Munro. And she is the queen of AOF. I'm so excited. I remember when you got the queenship. And how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm grateful. Real grateful. There's an accent there. You want to tell the folks from where?
Yes, it's actually pretty muddled up. I was born and raised in Germany. My husband is South African. We used to live in England, and now we are here. So it's like all over the show.
Yes, I think you covered all the areas. You have been awarded winning actress, writer, director, singer, producer, as well as CEO of the film production company, Blue Boots, I think it is, Entertainment, and Hat Productions. And you do that together with your husband.
That's right.
What do you do in your spare time?
Living, having two kids and being busy during COVID. You mentioned it. It's quite a different year for everybody with the homeschooling. My kids are school age. And it's quite something else to have a first grader have that experience online, and the guidance. And so, that's my spare time right there.
Well, it's not anything we'd want for the kids. We don't want it for the nation. We don't want it for the world. In fact, we don't want it at all. So I'm ready for it to get over and go on to some other. I'm with you. Yeah, we're in this together. You've accomplished a lot. Of course, I know you. So I want to make sure that I don't take you for granted here, but I want them to know what I know and what I'm going to learn. So, I mean, your credits and your background, I mean, you really are a special female. You've made a mark with the women in the industry. We don't have that many women that have done that. And the ones that have, we remember forever. So talk to us about, we'll get to all the meat, but I mean, I just talked to somebody that told me that, I'm going right to it. She just told me, Erin Miracle, that you were unbelievable actress in King Cole. Cole, yeah. She said you were unbelievable. That's a young actress talking about a young actress. And so where did you shoot that?
We shot it in Vegas.
Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. And what are we going to do? We can't release it in the theater. What are we going to do?
Well, that movie has its own special path, and that's the movie I'm least worried or concerned about that it will find God's blessings, because it was such a blessing to start with and how it came together, the people that were involved. Del Weston, I know you know him very well.
He's our friend.
It's a miracle that this movie happened in the first place, and I never had a more gratifying experience either, where the team on their own free spirit, before we started working, we prayed, and it didn't matter what religious background you have. It was just people coming together, and they all hold God as their center point in their lives, whatever that means for each individual. So it was so special, and that blessing seeped through every aspect of that film. I also never had a more gratifying role as an actress, because Del is such a close friend of mine, and when he knew that this was going to be the role, he tailored it around what he thought would bring out the best and the worst, which for acting is the best. Right. So I have no doubt, because that thing in itself is a miracle, and it will continue from there on in terms of distribution, or will it open in the theaters, wherever it will open, and whatever it will do will be an extension of that blessing.
I amen to that. There's so much here to talk to you about. And so I might have to do a show with you today, and then next month, another show, because The Way to Perfection that you directed, co-wrote, and starred in next to Bishop, Leanne Bishop. Now, talk to me about that. Tell us about that.
Well, this one tapped into a very special theme. My main interest in storytelling has always been the darker subjects, in particular addiction, or people trapped in a pattern that is self-destructive, because I experienced that. I had an eating disorder when I was a teenager. And I became an atheist. So it was like a hand-in-hand experience. And I spiraled downwards. It was 7 years of complete self-destruction. And I didn't share that with anybody. And I found my true, what's described in the Bible as that good earth, that the seed falls in that happened, from that superficial taught stuff to full-on experience. So The Weight of Perfection is a film about eating disorders. And it was brought to me by people from the eating disorder community. And I was so thrilled to be able to give my take on it, because I have fully recovered. And I learned that, because I never talked to anybody about it, that people who still have it, the main hurdle to overcome is that there's the belief you can never really overcome it because it's food and you cannot just stay abstinent from it. So being able to work with people in different stages of their recovery and tell a story, from different perspectives about that was really, really special. And the colleagues were amazing. The actresses, we had such a stellar cast. We got really lucky. Leanne did an amazing job. And Wyatt Olaf is in there, whose career has taken off. He has a couple of Netflix series leads. Merritt Leighton, these young Hollywood, successful Hollywood. We were lucky enough to have them, and they were such a joy to work with. And of course, our lead actress, Hayden Hishaw, who is not quite like hasn't exploded like Wyatt or Merritt, but she's totally on her way. And it's special when you find that gem that is going to be really successful.
But because of the eye, you have a special gift. Some people don't have it. They can direct or they produce. Normally, it took Clint Eastwood years before he produced, directed, but he didn't star in it. No, he did not. Misty. And then, of course, later, you took on, I'm just going back to the Weight of Perfection. You took on a lot to do all three of them.
Yep.
So how long did it take you to shoot it?
The Weight of Perfection was pretty straightforward, just 2 days of shooting. But we did the same in Old King Cole, where it was like people were able to use their full potential, which is rare. But then again, if you have faith and that you are the one who has to hold that big picture, and time is a relative element, right? And if you're patient, if you have endless patience, the results can be quite soon. You don't have to wait like forever until you're old and dead.
I don't know if I can. That's something I'll have to learn. Endless patience. Patience is. But now, see, this is what got me when I started reading this. Because even though I met you and I knew that your heart was gold, I knew not so much of your background. Not really. I knew you're queen of AOF, and I knew you were actress. I didn't know that you were obviously as good as you are. But to direct and co-write, and then you're talking about a 3-book series, correct? Now, are you on disorder and addictions? Now,
yes, on eating disorders in particular, but it applies to everything because it's always the same mechanism, that whatever your tool is to self-harm, in my case, it was, restriction in food. For other people, it can be drugs or sex, whatever, takes your fancy, whatever is available.
Yeah.
And yeah.
One of the things that I find so interesting is that you're bilingual, I think. And how did you, I have to go forward. Anabelle, just put up with me, please. By the way, you're looking at this gorgeous girl, Anabelle Munro, and you're on our Out of the Box store, and she's out of the box. She's really out of the box. We're going to credit her with several things, but I want to know how you got into acting, or did you get into producing first, or did you get into writing?
Acting, like full on acting. Interesting, when my eating disorder started and I lost my faith, right, became atheist from being a God-loving child. At the same time, I was cast as the lead in a super bleak drama in school, a satire piece, right, where I'm playing this rape victim, and my brother, we decide to kill my brother. And it was such the moment I went to the first rehearsal, I was like, oh my God, that's it. That's just it, because it combines everything. That's like, I used to dance, sing, write, paint. I knew it was going to be something creative, but I thought more maybe a teacher or something. But to have that the storytelling, it was the storytelling, being able to interpret the story with my body and my heart with my experience. I knew instantly that was it. And I think there was also, again, an extension of God's grace, that in my darkest hour, he sent me that, protective career path there as a 13-year-old. And I always knew acting is just it for me. And from then on, I went to a drama school a little later. I finished regular school, did my A-levels and all of that. And in Germany, I had a really good education where you're being taught to be a storyteller. That means you don't wait for the phone to ring. You're always thinking about stories, and you're reading the classic tales. You study humanity, and what rubs people up, what they need help with. Yeah. And it's considered as a sacred profession, right? Because there's this healing catharsis element of storytelling. Other people don't have to make the mistakes we show them we are doing on stage. They can just sit there, cry, and release their stored up trauma, and be presented with a new vision. So the acting was the beginning, and the rest is just part of the storytelling and to facilitate that. And I don't have to always act. It's just really that it's a really cool way of healing and teaching. Because it's not just me, it's like so many people come together to do a play and to do a movie, and if it's a classic story, oh my God, we have so much wisdom condensed. And then, there's so many miracles needed to get a movie shot and done, and nobody had an accident and no COVID. Yeah. And then it's out,
Now, tell me something.
Yeah.
Bullies, which is 2018 Comic-Con winner for Best Fantasy Film and Best Film. What did you do? You wrote?
No, I just produced. There was one of my first.
Excuse me. You just produced.
Producing jobs. I was pregnant at the time, so it was a good time. I went to UCLA and studied producing because there were some business elements that were not taught in school. And I was always very aware of that when there was a movie. And I'm like, dude, why is that movie nowhere to be seen? Oh, I don't know what to do. So I thought, as a storyteller, you also need to learn the business angle as a producer anyway, and how to, what are the sales agents, where are the markets, blah, blah, blah. So at that time when I was pregnant, I was like, this is perfect. Just get my hands dirty, with just production and setting up contracts and dealing with vendors and equipment and crews and insurance. Yeah. It was amazing, though. What a team. And we're still super good friends, the director and I. And that's another nice thing. If you produce with your heart, you always connect with the people that operate in the same way. And then you have that creative family over years,
Right. Like-minded helps a whole lot.
Yeah.
Makes the world a lot better. I wish we had more of it in the world. Now, you got Best Actress at the Action on Film Festival in 2018 or 2016.
Right.
But then I see. I'm trying to break down your acting. Which do you prefer, producing or writing? Or you like the trio?
I actually have come to learn that directing, and acting have become close competitors. The producing and the writing is more of a facilitating element to be in that ceremony. It's a kind of a ceremony to do that, because when you have actors and a story, and that story can be classic, there's that magic in the moment when you just, you feel what's happening between these two people, and you know something's not right. And then you bring it to life. It's really magical. And the writing is great. However, you always can edit and rewrite, and then there are the needs to sell it, and all of that influences it. But when it comes to acting and directing on the day, and just observing, being in the moment, and you see the magic is happening, and there's your intuition kicking in, where you know this needs to be done to make it work and for people to open up and have an experience that's real. Nothing beats that. I have to say, hands down. And the same for acting. When it's action, and I think by now I prefer film, even though my background is theater.
Oh. But
when you're really well prepared, and your partner is strong and very well prepared, and you have a good director, and you come together in that small, intimate space, and it's preserved as well. Instead of in a theater, it comes and goes, and you buggered up this scene, and there something fell off the shelf, and you can't hide it, right? So it takes you out a little bit. But in film, you string these real moments together, and it's magic caught on tape.
It's so interesting to me, because as I listen to you talk and remember when I first met you and watched you at AOF when you became the queen, there's something that's really more than tasteful. Charm might be the word, but it's like I believe everything you say, for starters, which is really interesting because I trust hardly anybody.
What a compliment. That's amazing.
So that kind of gets my attention. But now let's talk about you doing comedy, because you like comedy over drama?
Not really. It's a marriage for me. I love drama because, I love comedy because it's obviously really fun. And I feel people are way too vain, to show like the goofy side. And it would be very good for the whole world to have a little bit more capability of laughing about yourself and making a funny face. I use that in parenting all the time. It's highly effective to make a little bit of a goofball out of yourself. But drama with a comedic element to it, because it's a question of timing, is still my favorite. Because drama, in a way, I feel affects people more as a story, whereas comedy is being disregarded. My favorite example is Jim Carrey. What an actor. What an actor. When he acts in a serious movie, right? He's so in control, so sharp, so witty. His timing is the bomb. But people just have disregarded him a little bit because he mainly did comedy, So because those stories are light, people don't appreciate it enough. So it's not as much rewarding as a good drama that rips somebody's soul out.
That's the truth. Now, what did you do? Help me to understand. The Boy Who Cried Fish.
Yeah. Also produced.
You produced it.
It was my producing phase. That was just before getting pregnant.
We're doing around. And how old is that boy, that son now?
The son is 5 and the daughter is 7. I have a daughter and a son.
5 years old.
That's when it started being complicated.
Yes. Yeah, I got that.
I got to run.
Okay, so the Nerd Posse.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that, please. Tell us about that.
The Nerd Posse, that was when I met my creative partner, Suzette Trochet Stapp, who is one of my dream collaborators. As I said, those long-term creative families. The first time I walked into a meeting with her, I was like, I want to be like her. She had like those purple dreads and a Hello Kitty backpack and then this long spiked coat and plateau shoes and whatnot. And I said, she's like the coolest lady ever. And she's the mother of Merritt Leighton. So she had this whole gang of up and coming actors around her through that generation from her daughter. Mm-hmm. And she respects and understands kids and adolescents so well. So she was, deriving that from the teenagers, the Nerd Posse. And she's an amazing creator. And the kids are so talented. They did Plain Man after that. And we'll forever work with this woman. It's
quite
amazing.
A compliment to say that. Now, let me see here. When you were acting in the lead, is that yes? Of Lily? Lily?
Yes.
You were
Lily.
the lead. You were the lead.
That's right. Unfortunately, that movie never made it, into the finishing line. That was one very strong project and start, and there was a lot of love in it. But as I said before, it is a movie beginning to end, like to get to finishing production and then to find a market for it to get seen and distribution.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a long journey. And that movie, unfortunately, didn't make it. But Old King Cole made it, which was based on that project not coming together.
I see.
And that's why Old King Cole was so blessed, I guess, as well. It was just the right one at the right time. The other one was not meant to be. That's how I
That's okay. Well,
feel about that.
It reminds me of 1,000 Stories in Hollywood. I was 247 times that they tried. 247 no's for Gone with the Wind. Who knows anything?
Right.
Another one can make it, and then of course we know the story to that. But now tell me about, because I don't know, they don't know. And by the way, this is your chaplain, Susan Stafford. I'm talking to beautiful Anabelle Munro about her producing and directing and acting, her children, her life, her heart. With SOS or Subject Unknown, was that completed? That
was completed. I think it's still in the last rounds of post-production. Mm-hmm. And I just had like a smaller role. It was fun, also from the AOF, from the beautiful AOF family.
Yeah.
It's such a great group. Like, who hasn't submitted anything to the MegaFest as a filmmaker? What's wrong with you people, right?
Yeah.
Because the special thing there, you have this whole large group of seasoned filmmakers who run their festivals, helmed by Del Weston and Teresa, who have the biggest hearts in the universe. They watch every single submission. When you arrive at the festival, they know exactly what movie is yours and what they loved about it. And they help you and introduce you to people. Yeah. And SOS was a result of being at the AOF MegaFest and just connecting with other filmmakers. Hey, we're shooting this. Cool, we're coming. Done.
Oh.
It's a very good networking opportunity to all the filmmakers out there.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Now, here, you were, you served as judge for the International Polish Film Festival. When was that? When did you do that?
That was in 2016 and 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my own festival afterwards.
Oh, great. Where'd you have it?
Years.
Where'd you have it?
In Las Vegas. I'm part of the AOF MegaFest. My fest is called the Anabelle Munro Most Important Films, short TMIF. And my festival is fully focused on purpose-driven film. That means a movie with a message gets you there, which is not too hard. But the winning is not that easy, because what we're looking for is people who just find that right tone to make a message like almost disappear in between the entertainment, because that I feel moves people most rather than lecturing. So we're welcoming all stories.
That's great.
and make the world better. Yeah.
However, luxury, I don't know that I'd call it the same, but you were the keynote speaker for AOF. And do you have a video of that? I'd love to see that.
I'm sure there's a video somewhere. I hope. I don't recall getting a hold of. I know some there were cameras there, but I have to go digging. There was an interesting panel because it was actually about how to navigate the film industry as a woman. And my hook was the law of perfection, as in perfection doesn't exist and we don't have to be perfect. And what to do actually when you land in a situation with a predator or a casting couch situation. And I've come to learn that because I had those experiences, right? Where
I would think so.
You wouldn't believe it. But then there it is. And he said, I thought people would make this up. No, they're not. Oh my God. And it's the hurtful part about this is that it's like the grooming, what people do with children, right? With the actresses, it goes all over grooming you with the whole idea of what this job is going to do to you, how powerful that is, how it will change your life. And you're acting with these actors and you're like half in it, right? By the time they try to make their move and you're like, see the whole thing disappear. And that's very painful to walk away as not only, being lied to and almost being in a very dangerous situation. Thank God nothing happened to me because I could walk away.
Thank God.
But the pain of, this is how the world works.
Yeah.
I don't like that. So there's a way around this by just being protecting yourself ahead of time by the way you structure meetings and communications. And then you have a certain ability to stop people with a sense of humor, to
always
help them humor. To help themselves first. And then just not dropping the job opportunity right away because you're so offended, because there are other avenues around having, to go against the predator. There are many avenues, and that's something I want to teach women, to hold their ground and to not be devastated by it, because it is devastating when you have an experience like that.
Yes, it is devastating. I had a wonderful Jewish manager out of New York when I was working there before I went to California. And he said, anytime you want to avoid that, use humor.
Yeah.
And it has always worked. It has always worked. Always.
Yes, for me too. And ha, 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 until you're out the door. And then no bridges burned. You can not you see the person because the world is small. That's the other tricky bit. You see those people, some of them, unless they get hopefully arrested. And, if something happens to you, you got to say something as well, obviously. But it's a small world. And there was, there was 15 years ago for me with the casting couch, and there was still this whole, you can't say anything. If you sue somebody, then you get blacklisted and blah, blah, blah. But thanks to a lot of brave women and the Harvey Weinstein stories coming out more and more, this is, thank God, a little bit more believed now.
We had a lot of Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, yeah, they're still there.
They're everywhere. So it's, but humor is a great thing, I have to say. It's just wonderful.
Just get out of the door.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, when I first started, I started the schmanta business, the clothing business. And I learned so much. Ingrid Stevens, I took her account in Kansas City, and she said, you be careful of so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so. And I said, oh, they're so sweet. They have a wife, and I know their kids. Doesn't make any difference. So what you're saying
makes it worse.
That's right.
Extra creepy.
Extra creepy is correct. You are talking about what makes a film important, but you answered that question earlier because you said a film that has a message.
Right.
So is this a cause film or is it a psychological message?
Could be any.
Really?
Could be any. But to make to make the world better. That's the only distinction, right? Because you can have like horrible messages that like life is pointless, we're all gonna die, the planet's gonna be hit by an asteroid. If you do, if it's depressing, it's probably not. Yeah, it can be depressing if you still inspire, for people to find their own positive answers, right? Definitely. I need to see that somebody really cares about the community, the global community, and promotes a better world, a more peaceful world, a more loving world. And you can sometimes show that with showing the opposite. But usually if somebody's message is that this is not supposed to be like that, it comes through. You see what people have at heart. If it's just for the sake of gory destruction, entertainment, and desensitizing people to horrible stuff, then that's not what I mean.
No, I wouldn't think you would, actually.
Yeah, no. It can be fun. Not for me, though. I'm scared.
What I'd like to do, not today, but I'd like for you to come back and talk about the skeleton keys.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long it would be if it's 3 books, but I really think when you're talking about your eating disorder and addiction, I think there's trillions of people out there that need to hear this.
Oh, yeah.
And even though the movie's great and their producing's great and the film's going to come out, I think people are in so much need right now.
Yeah.
Will you do that in a couple of months?
Absolutely. That's why this book was written. That wasn't a vanity piece at all. I actually wanted to publish that under a fake name because I never told my German peeps anything. Nobody knew anything. I totally went through this by myself and I was like, oh, Lord, now I have to show my face with this because it makes more sense, because then I can have interviews to help more people, to show them it's real, you can heal. So it was like this whole big...
It's wonderful because you talk about toxic behavior and you talk about negative thinking, and when I was getting over my alcoholic love, I realized it was stinking thinking, and I think people today, because of being locked down and because of jobs and because of COVID and because of the kids being home and because of 1,000 reasons.
Oh yeah.
With the world being upside down, I think that'd be just perfect for us to do.
Oh, yes. I saw, my book is out, the first volume, and I saw absolutely a correlation between the lockdown and how people are reading it and wanting to read it and are thirsty. And I know what it's like if you have no outlet. At least when I had my eating disorders, I had these outlets, but people have nothing. They're stuck at home. And then also the relationships are all in the grinder at the moment.
Yeah.
And the worry about the future and what you do to compensate, right? You do your thing to cope. It's a coping mechanism because it's too much.
What I found interesting, we don't have but a few minutes left, but we're going to see each other again. So that's okay. Is that you had no treatment and no support group.
Nothing.
That's what I found interesting.
It was a self-analysis. I peeled the onion and went straight to the core. Over 7 years, it took time. But what a journey and what a gift, because my compassion for people with mental illness and behavioral illness and addicts and homeless and all those people who do terrible things, God, my compassion and understanding for that is like endless, because I've been a liar, a cheat. Because once you start dabbling with the dark stuff, right, there's no boundary, and you just go for it until you are done with going. And I have a lot of energy.
No, it's true.
So, yeah, what a gift. And just to see for the acting, my God, to connect with people who are troubled, right, to identify, to remember, and to have found a way to see the gift in it of wisdom.
Yeah. Well, my gosh, we'll have to get permission from Dell to put a couple little video bites up here to pull them in on the movies or the movie that's coming out eventually, however it is planned with the theaters the way they are. But we'll do that. And then we're going to see you, Queen of AOF Festival.
Yay!
And I'll see you here soon, but it'll be a couple months because of our booking. But I just really think it should be a series or something. I do.
I'm ready whenever you need me. And just on a side note, Del Weston, his acting in Old King Cole, I had the pleasure to direct his scenes. Boom! That man has acted so well. He's opened himself up and got all raw, because we're good friends and there's this level of trust. Oh my God, what an experience for both of us. And it was nerve-wracking, but you will see the movie, you will be astounded. What a phenomenal actor Del Weston is. I'm going to cast this man left, right, and center. I always knew he was amazing, but that experience, first time, me being allowed to direct him, and what he did, the openness and the depth, right? Because his whole life experience seeps in every cell of his body as well. And it's a feast. You'll enjoy it, Susan.
I will enjoy it because I'm from Missouri, and you have to show me.
Yeah.
And people can talk till the cows come home, but when
You'll see it.
I thank you for your time. Blessings for your heart, and we'll see you soon. Take care and stay safe.
Absolutely, you too. Okay. And you're beautiful, and thank you for taking me on your show. I'm really honored.
Thank you.
Mwah. God bless you, beautiful.
Take it. Bye.
Bye-bye.